So you're just gonna like tell me what to eat, right? As a registered dietitian, I love that there are so many ways to empower people to achieve their health goals. But as an intuitive eating dietitian, my approach is a bit different than you might expect. For those who are wondering what intuitive eating even is and how an intuitive eating dietitian might help you, then this video is for you. I'm gonna cover what intuitive eating is, as well as bust the top 4 common myths. And at the end, I'm gonna get really personal and share a bit about my own story and why I became an intuitive eating dietitian. I'm peeling back the curtain about some dark moments in my life. But before we dive in, be sure to give this video a like to support everyone who is on their own intuitive eating journey. First of all, what the heck is intuitive eating? So when thinking of working with a dietitian, what do you picture? Do you picture calorie counting, diets, and weight loss? If that's where your mind goes first, then trust me, you are not alone. The traditional ways in which dietitians are trained focuses on weight loss as a means to promote health. Now, traditional dietitians' work leans into diet culture because that is how we're trained. Diet culture, this is the idea that you should manipulate your body into being smaller, that smaller equals healthier, and that smaller equals happier, is innately woven throughout our society. Just think about the New Year's kickoffs with, I'm gonna lose weight, and how about vacation prep, right? Does it include a diet? Getting ready to attend a wedding or hosting your own fancy pants event, does that involve going on a diet? Intuitive eating is different. Intuitive eating is one of those things that sounds a bajillion times simpler than it is in reality. It's based on the idea that we deserve to trust our bodies, and that whenever we try to manipulate or sabotage our bodies, our physical and our mental health suffers. Intuitive eating is a weight-neutral approach to health. So this means that we're focusing on healthy behaviors and how we feel, not on a number on a scale. So more on weight and intuitive eating in a minute. But here are the 10 principles of intuitive eating. So let's go over those really quick because these are really the foundation of how I practice as an intuitive eating dietitian. So like I said, there are 10 principles of intuitive eating, and I've got to say these principles have been transformative in my own health and wellness journey as I've recovered from chronic dieting, food rules, and binge eating. Again, I'm sharing all of that at the end. But in order to understand further what an intuitive eating dietitian is and how we help, it's important to understand just a bit more about what intuitive eating is. So here are the 10 principles of intuitive eating. Rejecting the diet mentality, honoring your hunger, making peace with food, challenging the food police, discovering the satisfaction factor. Principle 6 is how do you feel your fullness? Then we have coping with your emotions with kindness. Respecting your body. Principle 9 is movement and feeling the difference. And lastly, 10 is honoring your health with gentle nutrition. Now that you know those 10 principles of intuitive eating, let's bust a few myths, shall we? As with anything that is gaining traction, sometimes the messages get a bit jumbled. It's kind of like you're playing telephone, that game at a kid's birthday party where you whisper in each other's ears down the line. As an intuitive eating dietitian, I hear a lot of BS myths, and I'm excited to share these with you and really bust them. So myth number 1 is that intuitive eating is all about junk food. This myth trips up a lot of folks, and I get it. We're so used to thinking about food as quote unquote good or quote unquote bad that anything outside of that mental framework seems unfamiliar and even wrong. But with intuitive eating, anything goes. That means there are no food rules. All food is just food. It isn't a moral choice what you're eating. If chips sounds good, great, enjoy it. If a crunchy salad sounds enjoyable, enjoy that. As you give your body permission to clue in on what sounds best, you will naturally reach this equilibrium with foods, this quote-unquote balance that nourishes your body and your spirit. And although this might sound a bit fluffy, it is backed by research. Would you rather talk about the science? Well, buckle up, Buttercup, because a recent study of college students found that those who followed an intuitive eating mindset had more nutritious eating habits. Woohoo! Love it. I love that science. And let's talk about that a little bit more. Myth number 2 is that intuitive eating is not science-based. This is false. This myth gets me riled up, you guys, because I'm a student of science. Studying to become a dietitian involves a bachelor's degree that is essentially pre-med, no fluff. And before I launched my own business, I worked for 4 years in a clinical setting, helping people with inborn errors of metabolism. Now that is some heavy scientific genetic stuff, no fluff. So to have someone assume that I'm promoting soft science or the fluffy stuff, it gets me a little steamy. So here's the cool thing about science. So the more research that we do, the better we are able to do high quality research. Nutrition is a much younger science than you might guess, but a lot has changed along the way. So that keeps researchers on their toes on how to best measure and promote health. With research studies about weight loss, most researchers previously came to the conclusion that the health benefits that were seen were due to weight loss. What we can understand better now with a bit of a different perspective is that the benefits that we can measure are actually due to the health promoting behavior changes like adding fruits and veggies, moving your body, moderate alcohol consumption, and not smoking, and getting enough rest, not the weight itself. For example, if someone added a walk after work, a few additional servings of fruits or veggies to their day, and maybe they did their best at getting the heck to bed a bit sooner, you'd say that they were healthier, right? I would. Those are very healthy habits to build in. But what makes me a bit different as an intuitive eating dietitian is that I'd say that this example person is healthier no matter what happens to their weight. Plenty of dietitians would make the goal be about the number on the scale, and intuitive eating dietitians don't. Myth 3 is that intuitive eating promotes weight loss. Intuitive eating is way neutral, okay? This means that a number on the scale is never gonna be the goal. I know this is very difficult to let go of because we've been focusing on that number, right? That goal number, for years. But as we've chatted through, it's those healthy behaviors are what promote our health, not a specific weight. It's a very common and totally understandable question. Can I still lose weight with intuitive eating? And we simply don't know what your body's weight is destined to be. Your body has a natural set point weight at which you can maintain easily and you feel good mentally and physically. That is the goal, the feeling of feeling good. Weight loss, it may or may not happen depending on where your weight is right now in relation to where your body will feel its best, both mentally and physically. Myth 4 is that you can't practice intuitive eating if you have a health condition or a food allergy. So another myth busted here. As an intuitive eating dietitian, I can help you make peace with food while avoiding foods that you truly need to avoid. It's about making the connection as to why you aren't eating something. It wouldn't make your body feel good or be enjoyable, right? I mean, someone who has a peanut allergy, they could go eat peanuts, but they're probably gonna choose not to because that's probably not gonna feel good going into anaphylactic shock, right? It's a choice, an empowered choice. Okay, so now that we've done some serious myth busting, you might be wondering one basic thing about intuitive eating. Is it healthy? Great question. Let's dive in. I'm going to share with you some of my story of why I became an intuitive eating dietitian and how, yes, intuitive eating is healthy. Little trigger warning here, I am going to discuss some binge eating in my journey. So my journey towards becoming an intuitive eating dietitian, it happened through surviving one of the hardest times in my life. So in college and beyond, it was when my self-esteem and my relationship with food crumbled and I began dieting and binge eating. I actually had a pretty great relationship with eating and with my body up until college. But once I started school and I was living on my own and I was very challenged by my intense curriculum, my life felt really out of control and I was intensely overwhelmed. I didn't have the skills to move through those big feelings, and I was honestly grasping at straws to feel any semblance of being in control. So I kept grasping for that control, and I began tracking my eating and my weight and my calories. I became obsessed with being thin, and I was feeding myself significantly less than I actually needed. It was like a never-ending merry-go-round that was not enjoyable. I just kept trying to control my food, my exercise, my body more and more strictly, hoping that eventually it would make me feel better. It would make me happier. It would make me in control. But what my ultra careful eating, it didn't make me feel better. It didn't make me happier or more in control. Quite the opposite, actually. I was depressed, stressed, and anxious. So I said enough was enough. I'm letting go of the food rules. Woohoo! But because I was starving myself, I began to binge eat. Hard. As a broke college student, I didn't have much jingle in my bank account, but whatever I did have, it went directly to the campus CVS where I bought tubs of ice cream, boxes of cereal, and containers of cookies, all of those quote-unquote bad foods in my mind at the time, and I scarfed them down. Not like a bowl or two of cereal, like boxes. And I felt like total garbage. Every time this happened, my self-esteem plummeted, and I was contending with a massive bellyache. Of course, it hurts to eat that far beyond comfort. Now, to combat the binge, I would over-exercise and restrict. But this just fueled the cycle because I was restricting my food again and burning so much energy with my frantic workouts. This was not joyful movement, mind you. It was punishment for my quote-unquote bad behavior with my eating. Now, the cycle felt endless and I was more out of control than ever. My friends and my family were definitely noticing too. I finally reached a point of exhaustion and frustration, and I wanted to break free, but I needed help. I wanted to eat quote-unquote normally, but literally didn't know how. I tried to find food freedom, but I didn't have the support that I needed or the guidance. I did start to work with a registered dietitian, and she did want to help me, but it's pretty difficult to understand and help someone improving their relationship with food if you haven't been there and done it yourself. And I've come so far since then. And what is my life like now with intuitive eating? My life is completely different as an intuitive eating dietitian, both in the work that I do as well as with my relationship with myself, with others, my body, and all of those around me. With food freedom, I am able to focus on making memories when my husband and I go out on date night and not stressing about the calories in my meal or if I deserve the cocktail or the dessert. I'm able to have a carton of ice cream in my freezer without anxiety, no more binge eating or feeling like, oh my gosh, I feel so guilty if I eat it. I enjoy a bowl when I want, and I don't even think about it most of the time when I don't. Really? I have developed a wide range of tools for emotional self-care that enables me to work through and manage stress instead of depending on foods only as my sole coping mechanism. P.S. Eating for comfort is 100% allowed, but in addition, I can teach you how to add a few more tools to that feel-good toolbox. I am a big fan of journaling myself. I've learned to exercise in a way that feels enjoyable, not like punishment for my quote-unquote bad food choices. And honestly, I'm stronger than ever. Crazy what actually nourishing your body does. I've reached my happy weight, aka my set point weight, that feels effortless to maintain. Through that transformation offered by intuitive eating, I can now say that my body is stronger than ever. I'm happier than ever, and I'm healthier than ever. I never want another person to feel the depths of that hatred that I did for myself when I felt so out of control. My eating was controlling my life. The truth is, I didn't think that this should be my career. I didn't think I would become an intuitive eating dietitian. I thought it would be too close to home. But I realized how many people were struggling just like I was, and it became my mission to help. And you deserve the same freedom. You deserve to partner with an intuitive eating dietitian determined to free you from diet culture once and for all. If you are ready to start feeling good about your body, about your eating, and to feel good both mentally and physically throughout the day, then it's time to kickstart your own intuitive eating journey and to start working towards food freedom, because you do deserve it. Whether you struggle with following restrictive food rules or you feel totally out of control around food, you are in the right place. I've helped thousands of women learn how to stop dieting, stop following food rules, learn how to eat intuitively, and how to find food freedom that feels good. And just by watching this video, you've taken the next step on your own journey. If you are feeling inspired and ready to dip your toes into the intuitive eating world, then be sure to like this video, leave a comment below, and share it with someone who you think it might also spark that inspiration into. Be sure to subscribe to this channel because that is what we talk about here. All things intuitive eating and food freedom. Intuitive eating, again, that feels good both mentally and physically. We take it beyond just eating the donuts all day and find that true #balance that everyone is looking for. New videos are uploaded every single week, so I'll see you in the next one. Your intuitive eating journey is about to get way better.